All right, guys, today we got a real special guest in the house. He's a super underrated when it comes to that mic, but he's a beast for real. Detroit royalty. We talking about the one, the only Kid Vishis. Vishis, what's good with you, baby?
What's up, my G, man? Pleasure being on the show, man. Thank you for having me.
I'm just so glad to have you on the show today, man. Shout out to the Hood Smokers podcast for helping us link up.
Hood Smoker, salute.
Yeah, man. So with my interviews, I like to start at the beginning and help people understand who you are, where you came from, and how you got to where you are today. So We know you from Detroit, but were you born in Detroit?
Yeah, yep. We started off on 6 Mile in Bayless. Then we moved to 6 Mile in North Lawn. And then we moved to Oak Park, which is just on the other side of 8 Mile. And then I moved back to 6 Mile in Myers. So, yeah, man. I mean, Detroit to the core, man. I definitely was born there. You know what I mean? But moving out, you got some people that didn't move out. So they feel like I'm more Detroit than him. And I'll accept that. But you know what I mean?
Because I was going to ask you that because, for people that, that aren't familiar with Detroit, Oak Park is basically a suburb of Detroit, right? But when people...
No, it's not basically a suburb. It is a suburb.
Right.
But it's like I could pick a rock up and throw that shit and hit Detroit.
Right. But what I'm saying, though, is like, when people hear the word suburb, they think like it's all sweet, but it's really not that.
I mean, I look at it like this. In any neighborhood and anywhere on the earth, you got some people who are tough. You got some people who are suckers. You got you know what I mean? And everywhere. So just because you from a certain neighborhood don't mean you automatically get savage mode. Like, oh, he from there. Oh, he could fight for sure. Like, that's not how it works. So really, you know what I mean? Anywhere that I go and I live, I expect to get a certain level of respect. You get what I mean? Because I give that respect and and if it come down to the come down, I fight for my respect and I've been trained to do it. It don't really matter where I'm at. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not going to let none of these guys really play with me or nothing like that. Not like a fist fight type of thing, but just play with my name and what I've done.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So you're growing up in Detroit in the 80s, right?
Possibly.
Okay. All right. Take us through that Detroit culture at that time.
In the 80s, I mean, shit, that was young. You know what I mean? That was the wild, my father still figuring shit out. My mother still figuring shit out. Me and my brothers is 3 boys. So that's just all just testosterone, you know what I'm saying, going crazy, and a lot of ass whoopings we got from just being little boys. But like the 90s was more like, okay, now we like, it's more music coming into the household. It's more different styles of music. Like my dad would listen to certain shit, Public Enemy and things like that. But like my oldest brother, like I don't think he really get enough credit because the type of music that he brought in the house was never the popular music that you would just see on TV or the radio and be like, oh, I could listen to that because it's popular. Like he would find the dope underground rappers and bring it in the house. And then we was bumping it months and months before they even blew up. You feel what I'm saying? So, yeah, the 90s was more like, holy, like all of these dope rappers. And then Royce end up rapping. My oldest brother rapped for a minute. I'm hearing all of this stuff. They bringing in Wu-Tang and Bone Thugs and Harmony before I heard anything anywhere about them. Cannabis and Eminem before, you know what I'm saying? Before anybody heard about him. So it was like an underground rap household damn near of just bar heavy shit always.
So your dad was into Public Enemy and more of like the beginning stages of hip hop.
Yeah, something with a message where you talking about something. You know, that fit his era of music.
Was like the Motown sound also in the household? All the classics?
Yeah, of course. There was more of that going on than some rap, bro.
Right.
You know, my mother and my father, like it was more Motown. I'm just saying my father would listen to some Public Enemy. He would have his moments, but overall that we would hear more of that kind of music, you know what I'm saying, than anything. From Michael Jackson to Prince to the Delphonics to the, you know what I'm saying, like Dramatics, like the list goes on. Like
Temptations.
anything you could think of. All that shit. All that.